Ladies and gentlemen, get ready to be captivated by the next installment of our spine-tingling true crime series. In this chilling video, we venture into the darkest corners of organized crime to unravel the haunting tale of the youngest and most merciless cartel member. But brace yourselves as we pose some unsettling questions that will leave you on the edge of your seat. How did this individual become a cold-blooded enforcer at such a tender age? What secrets lie within the depths of their violent journey? And what does their story reveal about the sinister underbelly of the drug trade? Prepare to be enthralled as we delve into a bone-chilling narrative that will send shivers down your spine. Juan Ramirez, a name that instills fear in the hearts of many. Born into a life of destitution and adversity, Juan's journey into the cartel began at an alarmingly tender age. His unsettling rise to power and the heinous acts he committed along the way are nothing short of horrifying. Juan Ramirez's story begins in the depths of poverty and adversity. Raised in a neighborhood plagued by crime and brutality, he faced daily struggles just to survive. The harsh realities of his environment shaped him into a young man with an unwavering desire for an escape, although through a path that would forever taint his soul. From an early stage, Juan witnessed the devastating consequences of the drug trade on his community. The allure of authority, wealth, and an opportunity to break free from his circumstances started to take hold of his impressionable mind. As he matured, he became entranced by the charismatic figures in his neighborhood who offered a way out of the chains of poverty. Juan was drawn further into the criminal underworld, captivated by the flashy automobiles, opulent residences, and the air of invulnerability that surrounded the cartel members. He longed to transcend his circumstances and seize a portion of that power for himself. The seeds of ambition and ruthlessness took root within him, fueling his determination to climb the ranks of the cartel. As Juan's thirst for power grew, so did his involvement in the cartel's unlawful activities. He became a willing participant in the drug trade, transporting narcotics, carrying out merciless acts of violence, and safeguarding the cartel's interests in unwavering devotion. His progression from a mere errand boy to a feared enforcer transpired at an alarmingly young age. Juan's ascent through the hierarchy of the cartel was marked by a trail of blood and terror. His notoriety for mercilessness expanded, as did the death toll associated with his name. The abominations he perpetrated were truly horrifying, leaving communities paralyzed with fear and grief. Juan Castillo's metamorphosis from a desperate young lad seeking an escape to the youngest and most savage cartel member was a chilling transformation. His eyes, once brimming with innocence, had transformed into windows to a dark and twisted psyche. The hardships of his upbringing had modeled him into an unfeeling predator, a true embodiment of the pitiless nature of organized crime. Prepare yourself for the bone-chilling revelations that lie ahead as we unveil the true magnitude of Juan Castillo's reign of terror. Get ready to shudder as we delve into the deepest abysses of his criminal empire and the terrifying repercussions it had on the lives of those unfortunate enough to cross his path. Juan's tale serves as a chilling illustration of how susceptible young individuals can be manipulated and exploited by criminal syndicates. He grew up in a neighborhood plagued by crime where opportunities for a better life were scarce. The allure of authority, wealth, and a sense of belonging lured him into the clutches of the cartel. At the tender age of 15, Juan became a fully fledged member of one of the most infamous cartels in the world. It was an eerily early start to a life of violence and bloodshed. With his youth, Juan was underestimated by rivals and law enforcement alike, exploiting it to his advantage to perpetrate heinous acts without arousing suspicion. Juan's ruthlessness and brutality knew no bounds. He swiftly ascended the ranks, earning a reputation as the most savage cartel member in history. His readiness to employ extreme violence and intimidation tactics instilled fear in the hearts of anyone who dared to cross his path. The devastating impact of Juan's actions on the community cannot be overstated. The cartel's reign of terror left a trail of destruction, leaving countless lives shattered and neighborhoods paralyzed with fear. Families were torn apart, forced to live in constant terror of the violence that plagued the streets. The once vibrant fabric of society was torn asunder, replaced by an atmosphere of corruption and despair. The scars left by Juan's brutality would take years, if not generations, to heal. The grip of fear that Juan's cartel held over the community was suffocating. Innocent civilians lived in a state of constant dread, afraid to venture out of their homes or speak out against the atrocities they witnessed. The once bustling streets became ghost towns, with businesses shuttered and children kept indoors, robbed of their right to a carefree childhood. The violence perpetrated by Juan and his associates left an indelible mark on the collective psyche of the community. The echoes of gunshots and the sight of lifeless bodies strewn across the streets became all too common. Fear became the ruler, seeping into every aspect of daily life, suffocating hope and dreams. But it wasn't just the physical violence that tore at the heart of the community. The corruption that thrived under Juan's rule permeated every institution. The justice system became a mockery, with law enforcement officers compromised and intimidated into silence. Schools became breeding grounds for recruitment, as the allure of the cartel's power seduced vulnerable youth, perpetuating the cycle of violence. The consequences of Juan's actions were felt far beyond the immediate victims. The social fabric of the community disintegrated, with trust eroded and divisions deepened. Neighbors turned against each other, suspicious and wary, unsure of who they could rely on. The sense of unity and belonging that once held the community together was shattered, replaced by a pervasive atmosphere of mistrust. Families were torn apart by the violence, losing loved ones to the merciless brutality of the cartel. The pain of the absence would forever haunt those left behind, a constant reminder of the irreparable damage inflicted by Juan and his cohort. Children grew up without parents, mothers mourned their sons, and fathers buried their daughters. The grief collectively was immeasurable. Even after Juan's eventual capture, the wounds inflicted upon the community remained raw. Rebuilding shattered lives and restoring a sense of normalcy proved to be an uphill battle. The scars left by Juan's reign of terror would be etched in the community's memory for years to come, a stark reminder of the horrors they endured. The brutality of Juan's crimes sent shockwaves throughout law enforcement agencies. Governments and international organizations worked tirelessly to dismantle the cartel and bring Juan to justice. Their efforts to apprehend him were met with fierce resistance, as he proved to be a cunning and elusive adversary. After years of evading capture, Juan Castello's reign of terror finally came to a dramatic end. Law enforcement agencies, fueled by a relentless determination to bring him to justice, orchestrated a meticulously planned operation that would lead to his downfall. In the early hours of a misty morning, a team of highly trained officers, armed with a wealth of intelligence and a determination to protect their community, descended upon the cartel's stronghold. With surgical precision, they breached the fortified walls that had shielded Juan from the clutches of justice for far too long. The ensuing operation unfolded with heart-pounding intensity. Gunfire echoed through the air as the sound of shattering glass reverberated in the corridors. The tension was palpable as officers moved swiftly, clearing room after room, determined to locate and apprehend Juan. Finally, in a climactic moment, the team cornered Juan in a hidden room, his back against the wall. The weight of the evidence against him was undeniable, leaving little room for escape or denial. The once feared cartel member stood before the very forces he had eluded for so long, stripped of his power and reduced to a mere mortal. The subsequent trial laid bare the true extent of Juan's crimes, shocking both the courtroom and the world. Witnesses testified to the horrifying acts of violence, recounting tales of brutality that sent shivers down the spines of those present. The evidence presented was overwhelming, leaving no doubt as to the depth of Juan's involvement in the cartel's reign of terror. Families of the victims, their voices trembling with grief and anger, spoke of the irreplaceable losses they had endured at the hands of Juan and his cartel. Their testimonies humanized the victims, reminding everyone present of the real and lasting impact of Juan's actions. The courtroom became a space of collective mourning as the gravity of the atrocities committed weighed heavily on the hearts and minds of all those involved. As the trial progressed, the prosecution meticulously dismantled Juan's defense, exposing the web of lies and manipulations he had woven. The once feared cartel member, who had once struck terror into the hearts of many, was reduced to a desperate individual fighting for his own survival. In the end, the verdict was reached and Juan Castello was found guilty of a multitude of charges, including murder, drug trafficking, and conspiracy. The judgment reflected the severity of his crimes and the irreparable damage he had inflicted upon countless lives. With the Gravel's final strike, the chapter of Juan Castillo's reign of terror came to a close, but the scars he left behind would forever serve as a reminder of the darkness that can lurk within the human soul and the resilience of those who stand against it. In the aftermath of Juan's capture and conviction, communities affected by his actions began the arduous process of healing and rebuilding. Support services were established to provide assistance and counseling to the survivors and their families, offering a glimmer of hope in the face of unspeakable tragedy. The capture and trial of Juan Castillo not only brought a measure of justice to his victims, but also served as a beacon of hope for those affected by the cartel's reign of terror. It demonstrated an unwavering commitment of law enforcement agencies and the resilience of communities to rise above fear and reclaim their lives. Though scars remain, the capture of Juan Castillo stands as a testament to the unyielding determination to confront and dismantle the forces of darkness, restoring a sense of justice and providing a path towards healing for all those affected. Join us next time as we delve even deeper into the dark and haunting world of organized crime. We'll uncover untold stories, reveal shocking truths, and expose the intricate web of corruption that permeates society. Brace yourself for an unforgettable journey as we shine a light on the shadows, unravel secrets, and confront the chilling realities that lie beneath the surface. Don't miss the next episode, where the truth will send shivers down your spine and leave you questioning everything you thought you knew. Stay tuned for more jaw-dropping revelations and gripping tales from the underbelly of the criminal underworld. Until then, prepare to be captivated, intrigued, and perhaps even disturbed as we continue to navigate through the darkest corners of human nature.